to focus on low-carbon energy, supporting off-grid low-carbon energy projects. It said this would help scale up domestic financing for eligible off-grid clean energy infrastructure, such as solar mini-grid and home systems, clean cooking infrastructure, and some cold storage infrastructure in Nigeria. Paulinus Nsirim, the Rivers State Commissioner for Information and Communication, has stated that Governor Nyesom Wike's government has put an end to triple taxation in the state. Nsirim made the remarks during a courtesy visit to his office on Monday by the newly elected Executive Committee of the Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mines and Agriculture. According to him, the chamber intends to reposition small and medium businesses and capitalize on the economic potential of local governments. Finally, Johnson Chukwu, who is the Group Managing Director at Cowrie Asset Management Limited, has revealed that private sector plays a vital role in the Nigerian economy in terms of revenue generation, strategic partnerships, job creation, investment facilitation, and trade promotion, among others. Johnson Chukwu revealed this while speaking to me on the Nigerian economy in the fourth quarter of 2021.
If we identify viable private sector, commercially viable infrastructural assets, and we are concessioning the private sector, we're going to get money from the concessioning. Private sector capital will come into those sectors. We create employment, we build infrastructure, and at the end of the day, we as a country will get the benefit of those infrastructure. But unfortunately, we're not doing that. We believe we can build infrastructure from budgetary allocation, which unfortunately, because of our lean resources, we are not doing that. I know the government has come up with some schemes that will allow private sector to build some roads. And unfortunately, they need to move faster because we're approaching the election period when whatever does not achieve some level of traction will be jettisoned by a new government. So, but ultimately, we can use that to kickstart and grow the construction industry. The real estate sector, all we just need is developing infrastructures away from the centers of town cities so that people can actually build viable estates, live in upscale estates away from the city centers. But for that to happen, you must be able to commute to the city center. So you need likes of monorail that can take people to city centers so that they can live away from city center. They can actually live in up-country locations and commute to city centers to do business. But that will require infrastructure from government. I thought about how we can do the infrastructure. And that way will expand the opportunities in the real estate sector. Today, the most viable real estate sectors are in Lagos and Abuja. And then you also look at the extant law in terms of getting approvals to develop properties, the process it takes to get approvals to build, and other taxes that govern construction industry or real estate industry in each location. We need to streamline these things and make it easy for contractors or real estate developers to get titles to their developments and also get approvals to build and all those things.
Let's quickly take a break, and when we return, we will continue with the program with our morning market brief. I'll be giving you an update of how stock markets across the world, and not just stock markets, money markets in Nigeria, the fixed income market is doing, but that will be after the break. Don't forget to join us on all our social media platforms and use this break to do so. We are on YouTube, Moneyline with Nancy TV. You can also check me out on Twitter at Nancy_Naji. We will be right back. All right, welcome back from the break. Let's quickly take you through the markets. As we start with the Nigerian exchange, that's the NGX, we saw that the market rebounded on Monday. In fact, last week the broad index depreciated by about 0.13%. But on Monday, we saw that the all-share index advanced by 20 basis points. Let's quickly move to the wall. The market capitalization closed at 25.5 trillion naira week open. It wasn't so bad at the NGX on Monday as deals closed at 5,961, while traded volume ended at 421.5 million shares at a value of 4.2 billion naira. So we didn't start the week. We started the week pretty nice. We saw a market breadth recording about 30 advances as against 17 decliners. Like I mentioned earlier, the volume traded at 421.5 million shares, and that volume traded advanced by about 22% a week start. The most traded stocks by volume on Monday included Transco as well as Zenith Bank and United Capital PLC, while Zenith Bank, MTN Nigeria and United Capital PLC also tops the value chart. Analysts expect that the bargain hunting will continue today, given the attractive pricing of several stocks. And I must say, if we're taking a look at volatility around Africa in terms of the stock market, the Nigerian equities market is not doing badly at all. It's not as volatile as other countries like South Africa and all of that. For GSC this morning, the GSC that's in South Africa fell. It's looking at what's happening, the tensions between Russia and Ukraine. All right, let's quickly move to our markets diary and tell you that the system liquidity on Monday was boosted by a repo inflow of 175 billion, that's 175.2 billion naira, causing the interbank rates to fall. So we saw the OBB as well as overnight rates falling. The overnight rates fell to 12.67%, while the OBB, which is the open buyback rate, fell to 12%. We are expecting a 230 billion OMO maturity today, and that would further boost our system liquidity. In the treasuries market, the market was a bit quiet on Monday. Why? Because there were minimal volumes that were traded across board. Average benchmark yield remained unchanged at about 4.18%. For the bond market, it was a bit bullish on Monday. When I mean bullish, that means you go up. Bearish, you come down. I hope you understand. Those are some of the terms that we use here as a result of the business. So those terms you've got to get used to. When I say bullish, that means it went up. Bearish, that means it went down. So I hope you are not lost. Don't be lost. I'll carry you along. All right, where was I? Okay, the Eurobond market started the week on a bearish note with sell-off seen across major maturities. The benchmark average yield advanced by about 4 basis points to close at 6.9%. Analysts are expecting that the bearish bias in the Eurobond market would continue. Naira gained against the dollar at the I&E window on Monday to 416.67 kobo. Foreign reserves, according to the central bank, climbed to $39.7 billion on February 18th from $39.78 billion on February 17th. All right, let's move over to other African markets. What you're seeing also on the screen, for those of you that are shareholders of those stocks, you should take note. I know we have Vitafoam there, Nigerian Breweries, Nimeth Pharmaceuticals, and MTN Nigeria. So just take note. That's the dividend diary for you. All right, for South Africa, which I mentioned earlier, the GSC fell earlier today, 1.12%, is mirroring what's happening globally. For Ghana, up 15 basis points. The Nairobi Securities Exchange down, while EGX 30 up more than 1%. Let's move over to the United States, where we saw stock futures falling sharply this Tuesday morning as traders continue to monitor brewing tensions between Russia and Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin, that's President Putin, said on Monday that he would recognize the independence of two breakaway away regions in Ukraine, potentially undercutting peace talks with President Joe Biden. And that announcement was followed by the news that Biden was set to order sanctions on separatist regions of Ukraine, with the European Union vowing to take additional measures. Now, let's move over to Europe. So you can see it's already here. Let's move over to Europe, where earnings from HSBC and IHG came in this Tuesday. But in terms of individual price movement, we saw Porsche Automobile and Volkswagen both gaining in Europe more than 9%. On the data front, we're expecting, not expecting, because before I came into the studio, the numbers came out. Germany's Info Business Climate Index rose to 98.9 in February from 96 in January, despite the situation in Ukraine. Let's quickly move over to Asia, where markets fell overnight, with Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index leading losses regionally, falling about 3.11%. So you can see sharp losses really for the Asian markets, even as we slept. Let's move over to commodities. All prices are jumping as the crisis between Russia, crude $90 to barrel. It is close to $100 as I speak right now. Even before I came into the studio, just about 25 minutes, about 30 minutes ago, when I checked crude oil price, it was around 99 US dollars. This number you're seeing is at 9 a.m. Nigerian time. So crude prices have gained more than 20% this year, and a rally of more than 80% since the start of 2020.
Says the commission is dedicated.
Some of those gains also can be attributed to a tight supply. Let's move over to the yellow metal, which is gold. As you can see here, is near a 9-month high, trading at $1,908 US dollars, as the situation in Eastern Europe intensified after Russia ordered troops into breakaway regions of eastern Ukraine, supporting the demand for the yellow metal. Cocoa is trading down to 0.3%. Palm oil is up 1.5%. All right, let's quickly take a break, and when we return, it will be time for us to focus our attention on microfinance banks in Nigeria. Don't forget that last year, the Central Bank of Nigeria did say, I think in 2020 was it, Central Bank of Nigeria did say that microfinance banks in Nigeria should recapitalize. What is the situation right now? And what are even the potential challenges for microfinance banks in Nigeria, even as we see the emergence of fintechs around? That's fintech companies. Let's quickly take this break. We will be right back. Don't forget to join us on all our social media platforms. Hello, and welcome to the program. This is Moneyline with me, Nancy.
So we really have to keep thinking out of the box about how to get money to the least accessible in our society.
Everything has to be re-examined in our economy, in our health system.
We are also ensuring that government does not continue to manage this refinery, because government is not really equipped to manage refinery.
We need to come forward and do something different, so that we move from the situation of looking at things from purely a consumptive approach to a productive environment.
The government and the people need to really agree on the need for a departure from business as usual.
We are now on a process of recovery. It is what I call a bumpy journey to an uncertain destination.
This is Moneyline with me, Nancy Naji. It's so nice to know that you're joining us again today.
Because we believe that, particularly in the case of Nigeria, with a huge potential, it could grow at much higher rates, even double digits, because it has the potential and the scale. This is a very large country with a large population and with huge talent And you see that in very specific sectors like ICT. You go to Lagos, you go around the country, the agricultural sector has a huge potential. Yields could increase a lot, yields are not as high. So in various sectors, things could be very different. We think that the private sector is the main engine for growth. And for the private sector to be able to be as productive as possible, it needs a conducive environment to operate. That conducive environment hinges on various layers of policies. But one goal should be macroeconomic stability. If you are an investor and you want to build a new plant or you want to put new capital, you need visibility. You would like to have a stable macroeconomic environment, inflation stable and low, growth not very volatile, less dependent on variations of international prices, a less vulnerable and susceptible economy to shocks. We are not there yet, so macroeconomic stability is not guaranteed. So the policy framework, fiscal and monetary policies should be that, such that you can create buffers in good times, so that in bad times you can deploy buffers, meaning that when you have a positive shock, you accumulate, and when the negative shock comes, you are able to deploy resources that you accumulated in good times during the bad times.
All right, welcome back. Yusuf Ahmed Gelesu, National President, National Association of Microfinance Banks, is joining me right here. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you to have me again.
Now, let's get started. And I think I'll start with the question around if microfinance banks have indeed improved. How have you weathered the storm? Since the pandemic, I remember I spoke to you sometime last year.
Yeah, after pandemic,
yes. Yeah. How have you all been able to weather the storm? Are you still weathering it? Are pandemic shocks still affecting you?
Thank you very much. Like you know, if we say or anybody says that they've already weathered, the pandemic issues, I think it's a lie. We are still struggling, as any other business in the country. We're still struggling to find our footing, but the pandemic has really opened our eyes, because sometimes when there's challenges, you see opportunities there. Now that has informed us to seriously look at alternative ways to deliver our banking services outside the normal, ones that we've been doing. So our members are now forced to embrace technology, because that's the only way to get out of this kind of issues.
Okay, you talked about struggles that your members and microfinance banks in Nigeria are still struggling. I would like to know what exactly are those struggles?
Well, the major one for now, which I had you mentioned in the introduction, is about the recapitalization. Okay. Now, we all know our stock in trade is money, okay? And CBN in its wisdom is trying to improve on that for us. But the main issue is this amount, the percentage of the increase that we are required to plow in, is what we are talking about. It's what we are struggling to see that we can achieve better. Like I've said before, 1,000% increase in minimum share capital is too high. Not all our members will be able to achieve this, and I know a lot of our banks are suffering now. Some are skeptical, they are in fears. And I think for any good business, it's not good to put the operators in fears. So you will be getting very little from us now, because some of us are thinking that can we really, without the storm like you said, can we really achieve it by the deadline given by central bank? And I am saying here categorically that most of our members will not be able to do that. And that is why we have been engaging in advocacy with the central bank and any other body that we feel that can come to our aid. Increase the deadline to 2025 and then reduce the amounts from 1,000% to 500%. I think once that is achieved, most of our members will be able to. You see, in every business, you are allowed to grow by organic growth, okay? But this one is coming by fiat, from 20 million to 200 million, from 100 million to 1 billion, from 2 billion to 5 billion. I think it's way up there. Our members will not be able to achieve that. But we are trying, like I've said, those that have the wherewithal, we are trying to, see that we achieve that,
Okay, let's stick with the recapitalization issues a bit. I know the last time you were here, you also told me that engagement and you are in talks with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Right.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, they say, okay, recapitalization, gave you a deadline.
Yeah.
Speak to me about what has happened between then and now. What kind of engagements are you having? I know you said a bit, but I want you to really go deep in it so that we'll understand, as of now, is the recapitalization process still on? What levels of talks are you with the Apex Bank?
Yes, you see, it's a little bit difficult to engage your regulators. They come up with the policies, but we are the practitioners, we are the operators. And we are saying this is a feedback from the operators. This thing we believe you are doing in good faith. This thing you are doing, you are trying to enable us have enough funds to play around with to do our normal banking business. But we are saying, by fiat, giving us that 1,000% target, and within this short time, is not feasible. So the engagement that we have been doing with Central Bank is please, and we have written, like I've told you, and we've been sending reminders. We've been having COMBI meeting, that's Committee of Microfinance Banks meetings. That's the only official engagement that the CBN has with the operators. And each time we go there, we keep telling them, one, the level of preparedness by our members, and then two, we continue to ask them, extend this debt for us, reduce this amount. But it's like, as a regulator, they are not shifting grounds. And we will not relent. We will continue to do our advocacy. And I think, by the grace of God, before that April deadline, something will happen. And I think our members will be able now to relax and do their business the way it should be done. We should be allowed to grow up organic growth. But to come by fiat and then tell a business that you are not funding, that you are not assisting in any way, that they must increase their minimum share capital by 1,000%, I think.
But the CBN did that for the banks. They did that for commercial banks. So
no,
why are the MFBs struggling and why are the MFBs complaining?
You see, let me give you a very good...
The banks, for those that couldn't meet up, struggled, some died on the way, some merged, and some other models came up. So why are the microfinance
Let me tell you why the difference is there between us and the regular, commercial banks. Say in my village, in Gelesu village in Zaria, we have maybe a microfinance bank with 20 million. We are able to, deliver services to the community. Because don't forget, any microfinance bank you see, they are community-based, okay? Now, the minimum share capital that I had a choice to go for a unit license is that, look, with this unit license, I will be able to now deliver services to my people. And if there is need for me to increase when I'm growing organically, and then I can go for the higher, the next, level license. But if with that unit license, I'm doing what I'm in business to do, I think if you force me to have more money, one that's going to be capital overhang, I will be left with a lot of money that will be idle in my vaults, and I will not be able to be given out as loans. And that is counterproductive to us, is at a cost to the banks. What we are saying now is, I know CBN has good intentions. They are looking at, okay, how do we really revamp, this and empower these banks by asking them or forcing them to add this minimum share capital. Fine, it's a good idea. But what are the consequences? I don't think they have looked at that side. One, like I've told you, we are about 900 banks now, licensed banks. With the survey we have done, not up to 50% will be able to achieve this target. Meaning the 50% that will not be able to will die. That's not a natural death. They will be killed. That is one. Two.
Does the 50% have an opportunity to do mergers and acquisitions?
Of course, we have options.
To even be bought over by the stronger ones?
We have so many options.
Have you explored these options?
Yes. Like I've told you, microfinance banking is a community-based banking. If I have in my village, I have a microfinance bank, and then maybe in a nearby village, they have their own for their own purpose, it will be difficult for us to come and merge. But if within the locality, within the community, we have like 2, 3, 4, and there is this issue, and we still, the target for all of us is to service our community, then there is an option of mergers and acquisition. We can do that within there. Now, mergers and acquisition is one option. Like the option they are forcing us to do is to bring in fresh capital, okay? Then we have the mergers and acquisition. And then there's outright sell. People are, if you can't do, instead of just dying like that, get an investor, let him come and buy the license from you. Those new investors will invest additional cash and then continue with the business. But the effect, the consequence is that, I'll give you an example, 50% will not be able to cross over. Now, those ones that will die on natural deaths, they are being muzzled out, they are being killed. Now, the existing ones, the ones that are surviving, there will be serious negative rippling effect on them. The death of their sisters and brothers, it will bring them down. There will be a run on those banks. And don't forget, every microfinance bank has a corresponding banking relationship with commercial banks. These commercial banks, all our funds are kept with them. If all our banks are dying, it will have direct effect also on the commercial banks. And don't forget, the government is saying they want a conducive environment where we'll have investors coming out from, coming from outside. When the financial system is in total chaos because of this, who do you think will come in and invest in this sector? So those are the consequences, which I don't think, even if CBN has looked at, they have just played it down. But as we that are going to be the casualties, it is upon us to cry out loud so that they will hear. Let them look at these other options. We are saying, yes, there's the need for us to increase our minimum share capital, fine, but not by 1,000%.
It seems like, for the microfinance banking segment, which you represent, it seems like people have been crying for so long.
Yes.
Yeah, because not even in this administration, I think even in the last administration of the CBN, they were also talking about recapitalization, which you also disagreed with. So the thing is, what time will you people be able to recapitalize? Because this issue has been there. If you're saying that you're giving central bank, okay, let's do 2025, have you taken a look at between now and 2025, see what is happening right now in terms of financial technology, fintech emergence of companies. Yes, and it also is a risk, so to speak, to your industry, that how many people would go into the microfinance bank. I know that a lot of adults in Nigeria are still unbanked, sure. Which you can take advantage of. But are you also taking a look at the financial industry and the rate of development, very rapid? Why can't you all also be part of that story? No, in terms of if you are able also to recapitalize or you do some other models, you are also able to play within that sector. I hope you understand what I mean.
You see, what I want you to understand is business. Any businessman that invests and wants to do a business has reasons. Unfortunately for us as microfinance bank, we are regulated by central bank, okay?
It's not unfortunately or fortunately.
No, it's unfortunately. Because
no, but you should be regulated because you are taking people's money.
Of course, we are taking people's money, and that's why we're giving the license. Yes, so we're not saying that shouldn't be regulation. I am saying for any business, okay, that is continuity there. You want to be doing your operations, growing by the day. You understand? And so it is in your best interest to grow. Whatever you are making, you plow it back so that you are having more strength, having more capital base, so that at least you can do more and larger, businesses, loans. But where you are forced to do, that's the word. We don't want us. You don't force a private business to increase its share capital just like by fiat. Now, if we are allowed to have organic growth, now definitely those that are able to continue their businesses, because don't forget, every year CBN, NDIC, they come to our places, they come to do examinations. And then when they do the examination, one of the major things they do is they check your minimum share capital. Are you within the threshold? If you are not, they will compute it and tell you that at this, you must inject this amount so that at least you are within that minimum. That is how you should continue. But not just to come and say, no, by so time you must do this. What we're advising is, and the right thing to be done is, okay, we have given you this, we are saying by 2025. Okay, that this is what the association sees after discussing all the options with our members. Allow us extra time to 2025. Reduce this amount to this amount that we have, asked, the 50%, 500% instead of 1,000. And then for now, because there is a policy in place, any new entrant that is seriously looking to come and invest in microfinance bank and set up a microfinance bank, such new entrants already will have had that new policy that if you are going for unit rural, you must have 50 million. If you are going for unit urban, it is 200 million. If you are going for a state license, 1 billion. If you are going for a national license, 5 billion. So any new entrant that is applying for a license now, whichever one he has chosen, he should be able to meet that minimum as set by central bank, because they are coming in to start playing. But for those ones that are existing and playing every day trying to grow, they should be allowed to grow organically and then give us that deadline of 2025, so that by that line, we are the ones that mentioned this date, and we know what we are doing with our members. We know all the options that are open for us to ensure that our members, most of our members, cross over. So anyone that is not able to cross over by 2025, at least we have gotten the time and we have gotten the reduction, and so anyone that is not able to go will die. That one, he will die naturally. But not this by fear that by this time, by April 2022, we must, there will be a lot of casualties.
Which is like 2 months from now.
About 2 months now, yes. There will be a lot of casualties.
Okay.
And it will not be good for the financial system at all.
Let's take a look at the categories within the microfinance bank industry. You have the unit, I think you have the regional, you also have the national. Okay. Among these three categories, which category is the one doing well? And I hope you understand what I mean. In terms of impact, in terms of impact, it mustn't necessarily be because you are big, you are better.
Yeah.
In the case of Nigeria, we are big, but we are not better. In terms of, micro lending to small businesses and sole entrepreneurs. So, which category of microfinance banks? I guess you would have done a study about this, but which category of microfinance bank fits this?
For us, from what we have done, from the study we have done, the unit broken into the rural and the urban, they are the ones closest to the communities. And the majority of the customers at the bottom of the pyramid, that is where they are, the grassroots, and that is where the attention of the two-tiered unit, that's the urban unit and then the rural unit, and then to some extent the state, because for the state you are now coming into within your state to play at the various maybe highly commercial areas where you need to take on a lot of people into the net. And then at the national, they also have their own advantages because of the spread. You can spread to any part of the country. When you do your analysis right, okay, let me go to this location, I have business, and then that's how it goes. So to me,
excuse.
All of them are okay, but the unit and the state, they are the ones that are closest to the people. But don't forget, even the ones at national level, they are not just there at national; they are spread all over. So they are also playing at the grassroots and local levels. All of them are important.
What you have successfully done is to tell me the importance and the significance of each category.
That's right.
Yes. What I'm asking is that out of all these categories, which category of microfinance banks among unit, state, and national are really impacting Nigerians? That's actually what I'm asking.
No, the unit definitely
is the one most impactful.
Yes.
Okay.
The unit, yes.
Okay. Yes. Let's talk about now that unit microfinance banking, because if you take a look at the concept of microfinance banking, I don't know if it's up to 20 years old or at least more than that, from the father of microfinance bank, which is Mohammed Yunus of Grameen Bank in Bangladesh. We've seen what he did. In fact, I think he received the Nobel Prize because of that, either 1986 or thereabout. Now, if we take a look at the unit microfinance bank, which is supposed to be like this model that was set up by Mohammed Yunus in terms of being closer to the people, do you think that we've successfully done that in Nigeria? And that's one part of the question. The second part of the question is, how many Nigerians really know about microfinance banking, especially even at that level? Because when someone thinks of, I have a business or I have a farm, I just need money to upscale my farming business and all of that, either the person in that rural area is thinking, who can borrow me money?
Certainly,
that I will pay back.
Yeah.
Or is there a family member that can loan me money? I don't know if the concept of microfinance banking at that level is there.
Okay, you see, it requires a lot of public enlightenment. As I'm sitting with you here today, you're an elite. When you go out there in the public and you say microfinance bank, the first thing that gets to the people's heads is that this is a place to go and collect money. You understand? They don't see microfinance bank as a full-fledged bank. You understand? It's just the name that micro because of the kind of businesses that we finance. You understand? And then to answer your other question, yes, example of Grameen in Bangladesh. You see, that is one major problem that we're having. We will go out there where it's successful, borrow the whole model, and then bring it down here. We don't customize it to our own environment. We just borrow from outside and then drop it on us, and you think it will work like that. And no. Nigeria, like you said, is a very, very delicate country. We have the market is there, over 200 million. It's not a joke, okay? And the major problem that we are having right now is delinquency. You give out loan, people don't see, they don't believe that this is somebody's money that you take to support your business, and then you need to pay back so that another person will be giving. So that public awareness is what we are doing every day. We go around, do stakeholder engagement. We put jingles on the radio and TV that this is what microfinance bank is all about. Okay, this is how go and save. From saving when you need support, apply for loan, you get it. But their main idea is, I have money for savings, I go to a commercial bank and save. But when I need money to support my business, they come to microfinance bank. Where are you going to get the money to do that? It's from the savings that we mobilize that we'll be able now to loan out. But where all the monies are going to commercial banks for savings, and then when it is loan, they come to us because the amounts they are looking for, it will be distraction to the commercial banks, except a few that have special products for microfinance. That is where they can sell. But how many of them have that? So most of them, they run back to us. Because for us, you come today, you apply, once you meet the requirements, we give you the money. But when you go to a commercial bank, it will take you some time.
Okay. What are those requirements that people need to qualify for, to be able to get microfinance bank loans? And I want to disagree with you a bit in terms of what you said about Mohammed Yunus. Yeah. If that's copy and paste, I think the Mohammed Yunus style is just about, micro lending for the very poorest of people that will not have access to traditional banks loans. Definitely. Do you understand? So I think that model is just basic, which I think the unit microfinance banks, if you go to a village, you have very poor people that they'll be able to. But to an extent, I understand what you're trying to say, but the concept itself, I don't think is bad.
No,
because Nigeria is a country of the poorest people in the world.
Yeah.
So microfinance banking should even be a very good model right now in Nigeria, so that
is what
a lot of people will be financially included.
That is what
and get us out of poverty.
We that relate with these poor people, when you go there and see the energy, the sweat they are doing to eke out a living, you know these people are not that poor, and they are very, very loyal. These are the ones that will take loan and they will pay back. They will pay back. You understand?
Especially women.
What I'm saying is, like in where you just, like in Bangladesh, it's like a one religion country, you understand? Now, that is a place, and some places like that, where microfinance has thrived. Somebody will take loan and will not be able, for one reason or the other, to repay. Instead of going through the hustles of being seen as maybe a bankrupt person, or he's taken to the police or whatever, that person would prefer to commit suicide. Who in Nigeria will take bank loan and say because of bank loan you go and commit suicide because you drag the good name of his family? That's what I'm telling you. That's the psyche they have there. Yes, I understand.
Nigerians will say even the government is owing.
So
after all, government go check say. That means even the government is owing. So why should I?
But I'm happy there is this this system that CBN has just introduced.
Yes.
The GSI. The global.
If you owe money in social bank.
If you have account because of this BVN, you can't hide.
Yes, you can't hide. They'll go and take the money from other banks.
Serial, defaulters, they take loan here, take loan there. Once you have money in the system, it can always be traced, and then without your consent, that money will be taken, and the person will be paid. That is a wonderful thing that CBN is bringing. It will greatly assist us. So, and we are now struggling to onboard into that net.
Okay.
So that at least it will reduce our portfolio at risk.
Let's talk about the big elephant in the room, which is the revolution around financial technology right now. Fintech companies.
Yes.
And how is it a threat to, I guess, how big a threat is fintech companies to you that are in the microfinance space? Because you see that even on your phone, people will be like, oh, okay, loans. Even commercial banks now do small loans. You can have access to small loans to file your salary, pay NI and all of that. How big a threat is it for you? And are you also looking at opportunities in that sector?
Thank you very much. I don't see it as a threat. Now, like I've said, the market in Nigeria is large and is huge. And this drive by the country for this financial inclusion, that one is coming to aid, to assist in achieving that drive for the government, okay? And like I keep saying, we are partners in progress. We are the closest to the grassroots, okay? Don't forget, at the grassroots level, fintechs might not be able to play very well there because of the absence of the infrastructure. There may not be light, there may not be connectivity, okay, internet connectivity, and all these fintech things. That is what they ride on. So we don't see them as threats. You see, I keep saying, anytime somebody says this is a threat, I want to interrogate that. What are the opportunities there? It's just giving us opportunity for collaboration, for partnerships, because they can't do it alone. If you are operating with a fintech company, yes, at the end of the day, is it not to give you money or for you to pay? It must be channeled through an account. Fintechs don't open accounts. You have to produce, you have to give them your own existing bank account. And that is where the collaboration will come in. You understand? So I don't see them as a threat.
And the opportunity also for those of you in the microfinance space, especially those that relate with the bottom of the pyramid that are financially excluded. I know we have high penetration or high density of GSM in Nigeria and all of that. Almost everybody even has a mobile phone, but the smartphone is another thing. So the thing also there, which I see is an opportunity for those of you in there to play. You mentioned earlier about requirements, and I don't think you answered that question. I think I interjected a bit in terms of, I want to really know, for those people that are, for those people that are interested in opening accounts with microfinance banks and perhaps having loans and all of that, because I said at the beginning of the program, if you need a loan of 50K, 100,000, you mustn't go to a commercial bank.
Even if you go, they won't look at you. So our place is the right place.
Is the right place.
First, there must be a banking relationship between you and the customer. That customer bank relationship must be established. You must have an account with me. Is it a savings account? Is it a current account? You have to have that. And you have to operate it for me to study and understand you and the kind of business you are doing. Then as I see you doing your normal operations and you need support, when you come to me, it's easier for me to take other people's money and entrust it with you. You can't just walk in like that, request for a loan, which is what they are doing now, and then expect to get money immediately. No. There must be due diligence, because these funds that we are loaning out, it's not the bank's money. It belongs to depositors. As it has been entrusted on us, we also have to, conduct a due diligence on the customer, ensure that yes, truly this person requires this money. Not that you give somebody money, the next thing is inviting you for a wedding, or he's doing a Thanksgiving for a new car he has bought, and things like that. No, we support businesses. We support the poor to grow. And like I told you, these are people that are very, very loyal. They are godly and loyal. So that godly thing in Nigerian banking must be enshrined. If not, I don't see somebody taking somebody, banks, money, not paying, and then committing suicide, because that's why it will be a stigma on him, his family, and things like that. Okay. But this is what happens outside.
If we want to take a critical look at the loan to deposit ratio, especially in microfinance banks, how would you assess it for me? The loan repayment, is it, how good is it?
Well, when we talk about loan in Nigeria, it cuts across, because it's the same Nigerians that we are giving out this money to. Some will come to us, take the loan, still go to commercial bank, take the loan. So their ability to pay is almost the same across the board. There are those that from day one, they are taking the loan, they know they are not going to pay. You understand? We have a lot of such, but we are not magicians. That's why I said that relationship for say 3, 4, 5, 6 months. We study you, we see how you are operating. Are you somebody that can be trusted with money? You know, so it cuts across the same Nigerians everywhere, and so the repayment is very low.
Okay.
That's why we have very high portfolio at risk. That part we call it PAR.
Okay.
The required is say
portfolio at risk,
not more than 5%.
5%, yes.
But it's way up there. When you do the average, industry average, is very high.
How has the National Collateral Registry helped?
Yes.
Because with the National Collateral Registry, if I have a bicycle, I have a piece of jewelry, or I have a television set, that person can use that as a collateral.
That's right.
And also improving the credit profile. How has it helped?
Yeah, it's helping, but like I'm telling you, there is this need for awareness of even our members. This is something that is out there to assist us to protect the depositors' funds. So we keep saying, go and register. Anyone that takes loan from you, even though microfinance by law, we are not supposed to be relying on collaterals, you understand? But at least it's a soft landing for you. Make sure that you have something. That once you register it at the collateral registry and something goes back, automatically you can realize it and then get your money back. But how many are ready to then are embracing that and are doing it? So that's why we're saying people should go and register.
Okay. Just finally, because we have less than a minute to close, what is the outlook for this year for you and your colleagues?
The outlook for this year for me and my colleagues is one. We are appealing to the regulators. This proposal that we have given, we are partners in progress. Please reduce this minimum share capital, extend the time to that 2025. Not just for us. Whatever we are doing, we are serving those people at the bottom of the pyramid. If we go out, if we're out of business, these are the people that will be directly affected. So our talk is a dual talk for us as banks and then for our customers. So they should please listen to us, allow us, or at least when a policy like this is coming up, let's sit on the, on the table. We want to do this. This is what we want to achieve. You are the practitioners. You are the, how do you think we can get this done? And then we rub our minds, and once that is done, do you think we'll come out and then be against it? No.
Okay. I think we'll leave it at that. Many thanks.
Thank you very, very much. And then continue, help us to pray.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I've been speaking with Yusuf Ahmed Geleso, who is the National President, National Association of Microfinance Banks. We've been looking at microfinance banking in Nigeria. Thank you all for joining us today. Be the best you can be that change that you want to see. I am Nancy Naji. Don't forget to join us on all our social media platforms and let the conversation continue there. Bye for now.